I stalled just long enough for this guy to join. I don't know who he is, but he joined.
I made
See
him.
that?
There he is. Okay. So, rat class. I guess
Like us.
the big things that people usually ask me about are routes that you're supposed to
How
take.
are you so good while being bad?
How do you turn your brain off that hard?
I'm going to mute
Okay,
you.
well, you're getting muted.
So the big things that people ask about are routes and disengagement. Like if somebody's trying to force you to not be in the fight, that they're just trying to duel you, how do you get loose? And
It's a legitimate question.
and pulling. Those are the three that really determine whether or not you can properly rat, because the entire point of ratting is to put pressure on the other team. If you're just dueling, you're really not doing rat stuff. You're just dueling. You're not helping the team all that much unless you win really, really fast every time, which usually isn't going to happen. Even if you're a very good duelist, if the other player's just playing to stay alive rather than to win, then they're going to stay alive. So the first thing that I want to go over for is routes, and usually if you're playing rat, then your line is going to look something like this. There's multiple front lines. There's a support, or just nothing but front lines. They're going to be blobbing up into a space, and it's your job to know where it is that they are trying to go, and what their plan is. And then once you know that, you're able to determine what's the best way to get behind. So let's say everybody is supposed to be pushing right side, right? You know that they're going to be lining up to say get their backs over here, right? And you know that that means that this team has to deal with them by going that direction, and they'll probably send somebody over to match you too. So if you know that they're going to be pushing right and your team is going to be pushing right, then a good thing to do is to take the weak side, just the opposite side of where your team is pushing, so that you can get to the backs of the other team instead of being stuck over here or over here where you have to like engage with the main front line. And this is also, if they don't match you, it's really best case scenario for you. Your team will be like shortly in like a 4v5 or something, but it's not really that big a deal as long as you didn't take a really bad route. So if you get behind them, then either they're inputting, then they have to turn around, or they send multiple people after you. Regardless, as long as you're drawing a bunch of attention, you're doing your job. Either you're getting damage off, or you're drawing multiple people, or you're taking more people out of the fight than you are currently taking out of the fight on your side by being a rat. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Any
Yes.
questions about that? And end goal is to be somewhere back here where you can hit people in the back. If you're not hitting people in the back, then hopefully you're drawing multiple people and you're kiting them out and keeping your team up on players. That's the important part.
Doug, do you have any questions? Because you were deafened.
No, I just came back.
Okay.
Okay.
You just continue. I'll be here though.
Okay. I was talking about routing, getting into the backs and stuff like that. I don't think that's the biggest problem that you have, but I'm recording this. I'll put it up so that you can rewatch that part that I just talked about.
Alright.
The end goal is always to get into their backs so that you're either drawing multiple people towards you, or you're hitting people in the back without them being able to do anything about it. So usually what most teams do is they'll just send somebody to duel you, right?
Mm.
Which you don't want. If you're doing this, you're just in a duel, which isn't really providing much team play value. You're not putting pressure, and the entire point of playing a rat over a front line is that you're putting a whole bunch of pressure into a place that they don't want it. The ways that you generally want to do that is by getting a good opportunity to disengage or to pull, depending on what the other team is doing. So let's say it's the same thing. Your team is pushing right, the other team is matching them right, and you're going off to their weak side, and they send somebody to match you. If you're over here, then you're not really able to screen past them unless you like make a disengage move. So the most important thing to remember is you have to footwork your way to the place that you'd like to get to, while still being safe. Usually you can do that by, say, if you're over here and they're matching you over here, if you swing over to your left while you're running that direction, then they're naturally going to footwork away from where you're swinging and probably back up a little bit so that they can read. So if you maneuver them so that essentially they're facing outside and you get your footwork inside, then you should be able to pull from here, right? You're pretty close to the backs of the other team, and this guy can't really stop you once you have line of sight, because you're fast. You're fast as fuck. There's a few ways that you can do that. The big ways that I've found work for me is either you can swing at them. If they are backpedaling while you're swinging, then you just feint and leave. You don't have to even send the swing. If they're backpedaling really hard while you're swinging, then you just leave. You can get that with a feint. You can get that with a morph, and then you leave. You can even send the attack if they're backing up hard enough, and then once they parry, you just leave and use the pushback that you get from getting hit to get you a little bit of extra space. That's not the safest way to do it because they'll have riposte and whatever, but it's depending on how they're footworking, you should be able to disengage really easily with this positioning. The important thing really is getting to the inside of where it is you'd like to get to, so that you can leave and go to the place that you'd like to be rather than dealing with this guy.
I have a question.
Sure.
How do you get away from a support? See somebody with a longer weapon who is screening you off.
That's the other way. So you can do it offensively. Either you can like feint people out and get them into a spot where they're moving past. But usually, if you're dealing with a support like a spear or a S-stock or whatever, they put a lot of pressure on you, and they can range you. Usually the way to do it is to range them and wait until their footwork takes them far enough away that you know that they can't immediately get chase mechanic. Like if you're facing a spear, then you get to whatever max spear range is. You take a stab. You preferably parry it. You get a parry, and then you leave. It's gonna take them a second to realize that you've left, and you should have enough time to not be engaged. And by that time, you can go get a hit on this guy, or reorient yourself so that he has to decide whether to just chase you around like an asshole or join the team fight. And either is fine, because if he's chasing you like an asshole, then you just hit somebody and you're drawing backs, and you can usually pull pressure like a couple people are following you. Or he goes into this team fight and you're just wailing on guys in the back. And I think I have some clips of the disengage. No, not that one. Not that one either. Which one was it? Okay, so this guy is been hard matching me the entire time. He's in a fast class. He's got something that'll one-shot rats. He's strictly speaking just looking to stop me. So what you can do, I put some pressure on him. He took a hit, and then you see him backing off, giving me the space that I want. The entire point of me even sending the attack from the right is I'm trying to go circle around him and get to this spot right here. I've already got this spot, so I send a feint and then I just leave. And now he's either got to chase and run into a spot where Dreams can see that he's coming and deals with him. And I've already done a whole bunch of damage while he's trying to figure out where I've gone.
So the dueler footwork kicks in.
Right. You take a hit like that, the first thing he does is he tries to get some space, because it's really difficult not to. But even if he didn't take a hit right there, then he's still probably like footworking away from where you're swinging in. So you send that feint out and you have enough time to just leave.
Why were you more inclined to hit that person twice, say hit Pep twice, than running and hitting other people in the back?
If you can get a kill, you get a kill. every time.
Right.
So Pep, after I hit Pep, then he was still worried about Dreams, and he panic parried, so I just sent it after him.
Okay.
Did I have another one? Here's
I'm
here's
fucking
another example. I'm not even in light armor here. I'm just looking to get a good swap off and disengage.
one tap.
So he starts to back off, and I just send a feint at him, and I leave.
Oh, I'm fucking one tap.
As soon as he gave me the position that I wanted, where I got around,
Yep.
right here, then I knew I could switch. There's nothing, even though he had a spear, there's nothing he could do to stop me. And that's usually the sort of thing that you're looking for when you're trying to disengage. It's a little bit harder if you're way the hell out there and you're trying to get a pull. Here's one against Terry. Terry does this is against Frazzle. Frazzle does a really good job of footworking and putting a lot of pressure and not doing the backup thing, so you don't have a whole lot of good avenues to get away. But even then, you can see I take the inside, I take a parry, and I just bail. And then when I know that he's going to get close, I turn and I deal with him a little bit more. So you can turn that pull into a weapon where you can hit people with it, or you can use it to just get back to the team fight or get to wherever it is. If they had been all just facing me instead of kind of separated into duels out here, then I probably wouldn't have even bothered turning around for that second attack. But because everybody's so separated, I didn't have anything to do once I pulled. But this is somebody who's really, really good at stopping rats from getting where they want. And you can still do it if you just know what footwork they're going to be doing, and you leave when you have a chance. Does that make sense?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
No.
So what about a situation where the round starts and you're getting in your rat route and they suddenly send their whole team on you?
That's really hard to deal with, to be honest. Usually you just try to kite as much as you can.
You did that against Hierarchy today.
Yeah. I don't think that I have any of those.
I mean, it wouldn't be too difficult to explain. I mean, we went after Hierarchy's rat. He got caught, but Lazy remembered to keep running away. You don't want to backpedal. You want to just keep full sprinting and kiting.
That is kind of what happened here in this clip. You can see there's like multiple people, and I'm drawing a bunch of pressure. The team is already fighting, and they have two people just kind of looking at me.
Guys.
And I'm just kind of kiting until they lose track of me, and then I go hurt them. So if they leave, then fine, you can go hurt people. If they're sending multiple people after you, then good, you kite them. Or if you've got one person on you, then you work your way back into a spot where you can affect the team fight.
We should probably replay the clip where you farm Frazzle.
Sure, I can do that.
I want to see that.
Which one was? Oh yeah. So this is for pulling. You can see here that I take the parry and I leave, just trying to get back to the team fight.
Get fucked, Frazzle. Get fucked.
Doesn't always go that way, but the important thing isn't even necessarily that he died here. It's the positioning. You can see that I wanted to get behind where the rest of the team was, so I took a position where I could leave whenever I needed to, and I just made sure that I was safe when I was doing it.
So as you can see, Frazzle is the inferior player.
Yeah. I've always farmed Frazzle. Everybody knows that part. Aside from that, it's mostly just about disengaging is probably the hardest thing to do, but as long as you're choosing good routes, then you should be able to put yourself into a spot where you can disengage safely and then go affect the team fight. If they don't match you, then it's a whole other deal. But I think I have a couple where I get like soft matched and I manage to leave.
So
Oh, look who it is. Oh, that's Jazz.
Jazz. So you
Where's
see,
Frazzle? He's gonna farm Frazzle soon. It's coming.
On the other side.
uh,
I'm dead. 4v4.
Is that me?
yeah. No, it's Krosky.
Nice.
That's
4v.
me.
Oh, here it comes.
No, that's the end of the. I'm only trying to show the disengage. I don't really. So the important thing here though is you can see all of their backs are over there. I'm trying to get into a position where I can leave this duel because I don't really want to duel Jazz. It's not good for rats to be dueling regardless of whether you think you'll win or lose. So I work my way over to the right where he can't protect from it. I take a chamber and I just leave and go try to get some damage on people. And as soon as I
I'm
can
dead.
leave again,
4v4.
then I go to another spot where I can do damage.
Nice. 4v.
Is this gonna be on the quiz?
Yes, it's gonna be on the quiz.
Yo, can I have someone's fucking notes?
Here's another one. I think I'm getting matched by Quasi here.
I'm dead. I got 2v1'd.
And as soon as I get a chance here, as soon as he starts backing off because he took damage, you can just leave and pull
oh,
back
of course
into
you
the team
fucking
fight.
missed.
And that's not just a rat thing. That's something you should just be able to do regardless.
This is my cone.
If Mark was so good at killing people, then I
Oh,
would
of
have been able to
course
hit that
you
guy in the back.
Jealousy. Isn't that Frenchman?
No, that's Quasi.
Oh.
So the important thing really is choosing good routes. As long as you get to a spot where you can get behind people, like right here,
Take fights.
you can see they turned somebody around to match me, but this is already so bad for them. I'm so close. There's no way he could possibly screen me out if I wanted to swap. So I just take that and I just start running around doing damage.
Wait, so why aren't you using them all?
I still use Maul sometimes. I haven't been using Maul a whole lot though because I just don't like playing it.
No combo. You
But I
missed
thought the
your
whole
fight.
point of using them all is just because of its damage.
It is. If you do use Maul on Rat, it's still really good. And you can still completely win a round by just doing roughly this. You do the same stuff. It's just a lot easier to get hits with Mace, and it's a lot safer to play Mace.
Huh.
Maul, there's some indecisiveness whether you're close enough to hit the person.
Yeah.
I think Mace has a little more pressure too. Actually,
Yeah.
a lot more pressure.
The
Mace is
advantage
really
of Mace
fast.
is that if you get into a duel, you'll probably win.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
With the
That's
mace?
true as well.
Mace is good for duels, and not that Maul's bad for duels, especially as Rat.
It's just
really
Mace is
good.
just better, dude.
I think,
Nah, not
I think-
necessarily.
No, Maul is better if you can consistently get behind them and get hits.
Yeah.
'Cause you
I'm
just
talking
gotta
about
kill
duels.
Oh yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're in a scenario where the team is giving you their backs, like even like this one, honestly, with the way Hierarchy is playing this
Take
right here,
fights.
I should
Yeah,
probably be running Maul because I have their backs in this scenario really easy. There's no way from this close he can stop me from switching because I'm fast and there's people so close.
hmm
And
Left.
there's another. Oh, this is just about routing. So
They don't know. I don't know if they can push through Dream.
Nope,
Okay.
we were-
I just bait a bunch of pressure, and then as soon as they leave, you have a whole bunch of backs. As long as you're working your footwork and deciding what you're doing, and with the intent of getting to a spot where you can either do damage or pull pressure, then you're doing a good job. If you're just moving to take a duel, then you're throwing,
Sorry.
because then you can do stuff like that.
Oh my god, Lazy, that crap.
You can just take a route that will give you backs, and even then, like you can see here, I think that's Shaz. Shaz was out there trying to match me, but he gets stuck in a duel,
Sorry.
and I don't, and I go kill
Oh my
a whole
God,
bunch of
Lazy.
people because he's in a duel and nobody else was matching me.
Goddamn dopamine bandit.
That's the main things. I open to questions. Questions would be helpful.
There's a
X.
this.
Go ahead.
One at a time.
One of you or neither, I guess.
Other guy go.
All right. If you can you go back to like a contra clip, Lazy?
Left.
This one?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
So there are times where I would wrap around the left side of the pillar,
They don't. I don't know
left
if
side
we
of the
can
map. I
push
mean,
through Dream.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, we
Okay.
were-
to try to take the flank because I think they're gonna do the choke,
Sure.
and then I find out that they're like more toward like the other side of the map toward the ocean, but still on their side. What would be the best route for that?
You have to work with your team and
yeah.
make sure that your team tells you where they are and that they don't engage early, so you can get into a better spot. You're just basically trying to get behind them.
It's not in
That's
any
the
of
goal.
these clips, but anytime that I'm going alley and I don't know where the other team is going to be, I ask. I just say, hey, call out where they are.
Okay. So what if it's like you're already like halfway through the alley?
Then
Like-
you know where
Well, your team should know that you're going alley, and they should know that they shouldn't engage if
Yeah.
the enemy team is on the other side of the map where you're not gonna have any impact.
Yeah, and if the enemy knows that you're in the alley, then your main team can apply pressure.
You're supporting your team more than they're supporting you, but your team still needs to know that they're playing with a rat and engage appropriately.
Okay.
So you have to improvise your route and just try and basically you're just trying to get behind them. So
Yeah.
you can think of it on the spot, but make sure it's just your team should never engage when you're not in the good spot.
Yeah. Optimally, you should be working around where your team plans on going and what the other team has been doing, and choose a good route. If alley isn't a good route, or you don't think that you'll be able to get pressure there, then don't go down it. Just go down the middle or whatever. And it goes for anything. If you're on Chester and it seems like they're just like pushing onto you and you're getting engaged early or whatever, then play behind the team and engage a little bit later, or pick a different route where they're not able to do that. It's the most important thing, more even than like disengaging and everything, is picking a spot where you can be in a threatening position. If you're engaging with the front line, then you're really at a disadvantage because you're usually not running a weapon that's super long necessarily, or very good in team fights, and you're usually wearing less armor, so it's just harder for you to survive if you get stuck in like a pitched battle. You're trying to pull pressure on the edges rather than get stuck in bad spots.
Okay.
So I think really the routing is more important than the you should be able to disengage, and that's really just about footwork. As long as you focus on you know where you need to get to, and you should aim your attacks to put you in the direction that you should be looking to go, then you should be fine. But more than anything, it's about picking a route where people can't get to you, but you're putting pressure on. Like, this is another one. I know that they're not hard matching me, so I go to the spot where they're not going to be able to do any matching or anything, and I just start hammering on people's backs. And hierarchy can play that two ways. They can continue to not look at me like they did, or they can turn all the people that you're hitting behind, and your frontliners get to just poke at them instead.
Or you just get matched and get dueled by the other rat.
Yeah, so in that case, though, you should know that you're not, like, you shouldn't be taking a route where the other rat can match you, for one. But you should also be working to get back into the team fight, even if somebody's hard matching you. And your route is more important to that than even the disengage. The disengage is important, but it's very important to choose your route carefully. Right there. So right there you can, like, it's such a small
Wizard
thing.
is farmed.
Such a small thing too. Like, as soon as you see your team pulling that pressure and you know you're not going to get matched, then you know you can get right into the back and go do a shitload of damage. And like you can see there, after I got the kill, I think that's Cyclone just turns around, or no, it's Ren. Ren turns around because he knows that I'm there. And you've already pulled a bunch of pressure off of Dreams over here, who was getting inputted by 3 people prior to this.
Harvested.
That is why you don't go 0-0-0.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's
Why does he do a rat build?
That's hard trolling by Wiz. I don't know, have any idea why he does that.
I think he's convinced it's good.
Yeah, he seems to think it's good, but I just strongly disagree.
I think his mentality is that him wearing such little armor obviously makes him fast and all that, but like it baits people into trying to get a quick kill on him and like causes people to get out of position.
Here's another one where you have a route where you're just not getting matched, so you can go and just do a shitload of damage.
Nice.
Left.
And if you do your route right, then again, either you're drawing a shitload of pressure and your team has an easy fight, or you're drawing no pressure and you have an easy fight and you're just doing a bunch of damage.
Oh, Lazy, you should have clipped the from today when me and you backed hierarchy up in that tunnel. We had them pinned. I think that would be a good one to look over as well.
It's not really a rat play. That was just a good team play.
I mean, just yeah, I guess.
But a lot of this stuff goes for just normal, like if you're a frontliner or support too. This is the same stuff for like disengaging that you do as a support or as a frontline. You just aren't quite as fast, so it's a little bit harder. But if you're trying to pull somebody, then you should be working your footwork to a spot where you can get some distance and make the play away from them to pull them back into your team. It's the same thing. I think there was another question.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I changed my mind.
Fear.
Fair enough. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I have one.
Sure.
Okay, I guess it's my turn.
Good.
Is it better to attack the strong side, or where the strong side is attacking, over anywhere else?
It's really just a read. Like in this case, I do go around and attack the strong side, but that's because I think that there's more pressure on their strong side, and I can get there and do more damage. Like right there, if I'd cut in there, then I would have been in a spot where I could get like double and triple teamed without anything to really do about it. Whereas over here, I can just go kill a guy who wasn't really doing much, and relocate and do more stuff. So it's a if weak side, the side that you're on, usually, at least the way we do it, you're weak side. But if you need to go strong side, it's the same thing. If the close people are giving you their backs and you can get damage off, then take them. But if it's gonna put you into a spot where you're gonna die, then you probably don't want to do that thing.
Okay.
Any additional questions?
What happens if Ferrazzo comes up and duels you every time?
Then you try your damnedest to get away. I actually even said this earlier before you got here. I think that that pull that I did against you is against somebody who's extremely good at not letting you leave. It's really just about footworking and trying to get back into the team fight in a reasonable duration of time. Because I mean, if you're faster, there's no way they can fully stop you from getting to where you want to go. It's just about doing it in a reasonable amount of time. And safely. You don't want to die for it. That's my big problem. Is I'll try to do it a little too fast and I'll die for it.
Too fast.
But I can replay the Fraza clip again. Hold on.
Oh.
Okay. So you take the
I get off the
riposte,
edge, I'm sorry.
you leave, and then there's nobody to hit, so you just farm Frazzle. That's
Okay, so I had to repost that.
Yeah.
I had to repost. I think.
So it was technically my my turn to attack, right?
Yeah.
I take the parry, and I
I get
leave
off the edge, I'm
instead of
sorry.
reposting. So
Never mind then.
there's really kind of 3 ways to get the space. You can take a parry and leave, you can send an attack and leave, or you can feint and
I guess
leave.
I kind of just gotta run in and chamber.
Yeah. If you
Oh
had chambered me, or if you had
Just kept running into you.
put enough pressure into me where I wasn't able to do that, then I wouldn't have been able to leave, which is usually the case, especially if you're running like S-Talk or Spear. It's just really hard to disengage from people that are doing that. And I wouldn't have been able to run nearly that far. No matter what, you're able to get some distance, but like...
Also, I positioned bad, because I shouldn't have let you get the inside there.
Right. As a rat, and I'm trying to get to the fight, if the other guy is just hard blocking you from the backs, then they're doing a great job. And if you can't stop them from doing that, then you're doing a bad job.
Is Flesh Wound allowed in comp?
Nah, it's banned now.
Man, I'm just mad.
It's almost like it is actually very overpowered now.
It's totally broken right now. There's yep. So it's really if you're trying to get the pull, and that's again, it's not just a rat thing. If you're trying to pull, then you should get the inside of where you're trying to get to, so that they can't stop you from going where you want, and then you buy enough time to make some space up. If Frazzle was more on me, like he sent the attack and then
I gave up the edge. I'm sorry.
And then I just fucking bail. If he was kept, I wouldn't have had as much time. And I really
if I just didn't try and read and I just tried to sprint in chamber whatever was next.
Yeah, which understandably you don't really want to do against a mace or a maul or something. It's
usually
kind of hard to just face hug somebody all the time. But
yeah, the main flaw was just positioning.
Yeah. Which most of the time I was totally shut down on Chester for the most part, because you or Cologne or Jazz just stood right in the way and I couldn't get a good path that got me there fast enough to help the team before people had died.
I'm about a nut.
Fair enough.
Alright guys, now it's time for the real content.
Yep, and now Marklar's #1 NA ratting class starts.
I'm gonna show you how to really be a rat, get under people's skin.
Hey, what's happening?
RDM?
RDM thoughts, let's
not
go.
That far. That far.
There we go.